Right now, some pastors are unhappy about the National Health Act, which has now replaced the state of national disaster. The pastors have gathered under the banner of Active African Christians United Movement. The organization is calling for the restrictions to be lifted, just like the state of disaster. Let's go to our reporter, eNCA's Nqobile Madlala, who is watching developments for us, and she joins us now live. Nqobile, I see some of the church members, of course, singing there behind you. What exactly is it that they want? I'm assuming that they want churches to go back to full capacity now?
Well, from what we have heard, myself, I'm just going to step away so you can see most of these pastors that are gathered here, they're saying that they have a right. And what they want is for the government to not, on the 15th, put the National Amendment Act, Health Amendment Act. And so they are here saying that they are going to be taking to the streets and they're going to be those voices that are actually going to be saying no to that. But I want to bring in one of their leaders, in fact, the ACUM president at this point. We understand that you used to be the pastors against the lockdown at some point, and now you have moved to ACUM. What exactly do you want today?
Today we are here because we want to register our dissatisfaction with the current proposal that the president has brought of amending the National Health Act to say it's against the human rights. That's why we are here. We want to educate the nation and make them aware of what is at stake with this proposal of the uplifting of the lockdown and the amending of the National Health Act, that it is not a good deal for the citizens.
And why is this a problem, if I may ask?
It is a problem because it erodes and violates all the human rights. If we can check at most of the proposals that are there, like the mandatory quarantine, like the demand of the vaccination certificates or the certificate of proof of tests, something like that. These are some of the things that we can say when we look at them. They are against the basic of the human rights or the Bill of Rights. So whenever we deal with this kind of things, we must understand when we agree with this that we are working against the fundamental, which is the Bill of Rights, the cornerstone of our Constitution, and we cannot agree with that.
And of course, we hear hearing you saying that you are going to be taking to the streets. When is this and why again?
We'll be taking it to the street to go to the National Health Department, to go to also to the Union Building to submit the memorandum that we do not approve the assent of these amendments into the new law to be part of the National Health Act. We'll be just declaring that this is against the citizens. It's a war against business, it's a war against the church, it's a war against the civil societies, it's a war against the general people.
Right, and of course now we understand that some of the regulations that are still in place are the fact that people are still given certain percentage, a certain amount of people can be in a space. Is this in any way attached to the fact that the Easters are around the corner and you would like to see more people coming to church?
Yes, it is attached. If you can look at all this, the most gathering, which is more enhanced, well known, it is the church. And definitely, if this is passed on the 15th, eventually becomes the law. It will be enforced in Easter. Who will be the first people to suffer? Church people. So we cannot really look at it in a different way to say it's still an attack on the church. Why it's an attack on the church? Because the church is a gathering. And when it's a gathering and they want people vaccinated, there will be many church people who will be arrested. There will be many people who go to any form of gathering arrested, including the church people.
And what does this mean then going forward for churches? Should this go into constitution? If this continue and it becomes a law, it will definitely mean that people are not free to meet. A freedom of association, freedom of movement, right to privacy,
all these kind of rights that are there, bodily integrity, right to bodily integrity, they have all been jeopardized, they've all been violated. So the reason why we are saying we must stand against this, it's simply because we are seeing the danger that will be happening immediately after this has passed. So we don't want it to pass, because once it's passed, everybody will suffer, starting with church people, coming with businesses, coming with everything, because people will not be able to go to even restaurants.
And I mean, have you decided to speak to the Department of Health to also ask these questions, or rather these concerns, and voice them out?
Come again, I didn't hear that.
Have you spoken to the Department of Health or anyone in the government to voice out your concerns?
No, we have not yet reached out to the Department of Health. We'll do it on the 13th. We'll do it on the 13th when we submit our memorandum to say we are requesting that do not make this the law, because it will be your department, and everything that is there, that is in your department, will be used against the people. So we want not to buy into this, because the National Health Act will be used. Eventually the Department of Health will be forced to say its inspectors and employees are now used to fight the citizens, and they must know the dangers that they are, of the direction they are taking, which will make their department to be disreputed and lose a good reputation with the society at large.
So what do you suggest must happen?
This must be dropped. The whole proposal of amendments, what has been gazetted on Gazette 46126, must just be eradicated. There has to be the total lifting or uplifting of lockdown. Without this edition of the amendment, without all these National Health Act amended, we have moved out of the COVID-19 phase. Let every regulation be taken off. Let us go back to normal. Let there be no any form or sort of regulation or condition that is there, because we must go back to normal. We must be able to build the country. How will we build the country when these vaccination certificates are needed, people are locked here, and things are not going on? Let universities open, schools open, because you will see the president says all this social distancing so on, they apply everywhere except in school with learners. Now what does that mean? It means that we can go back to normal if schools are back to normal. Let the country go back to normal.
Thank you very much. More Africa, they're speaking to us about what the pastors are proposing. But if you're hearing there, Masego, they're basically saying that they would like everything to go back to normal. And this, of course, they are going to be expressing on the 13th of April when they take to the streets. They're saying on that day they will be taking their memorandum to the Department of Health, as well as taking it to the president himself to say that they don't want this to be amended, and this is where they stand.
All right, Nqobile Madlala, let's leave it there for now.